Good afternoon and welcome to this week's webinar with Deepblocks. I do appreciate you taking the time to join us as we will be searching for land and development opportunities in Raleigh, North Carolina. Just going to give a few more minutes to let some more people jump on and join us today. Again, I do appreciate everyone taking the time to be a part of this webinar. As we let more people jump on and join, just want to mention that throughout the webinar, if you have any questions or want to discuss a particular topic as I go through this session, feel free to use the chat. If you have any questions when I'm finished and want to reach out to me directly, I will put on the chat my email, which is michael@deepblocks.com. Always remember, if you want to do a one-on-one demo and go through the product in more detail and more depth, again, feel free to reach out to me at michael@deepblocks.com. We could set up a one-on-one session. So again, we're just going to wait a couple more minutes to let some more people join. I'm going to share my screen. In the meantime, I'm going to show you some key parts of our website. And so you see here, this is deepblocks.com, where you can, there's a tremendous amount of information here. Sorry about that. Let me close that of the screen. All right, sorry about that. And at deepblocks.com, we have various tabs here that can help you navigate through our site. On the first tab is in our homepage. We actually have a good amount of information about Deepblocks and what we're all about. We have our cities tab, which goes through all the different cities that we have zoning data in, as well as parcel level data. And you'll notice on the cities tab, anything with a red dot will indicate that we have zoning in that particular city or market, and anything with a blue dot just represents all the cities we have parcel level data. We're actually about to scale out and reach another 57 cities, which I believe we're launching in the next few weeks. So we'll be at 100 cities with zoning data. And again, we continue to always add more and more parcel level data to more cities. And I believe we're in over 1,000 cities with that parcel level data. In addition to those two sets of data, we also have various market data from residential rates, industrial rates, office rates, other data sets as well. We also show various types of construction costs, and we show opportunity zones. So this is a numerous amount of metrics that you can apply to your search to better enhance your site selection and find that next development opportunity. Just to recap and understand, our software basically splits into two different interfaces. That front end interface is our market scanner, which allows you to quickly identify and scan a particular market based on zoning codes, use allowed. You can enter different types of refinement criteria, which we'll go into in our session shortly, and really helps you reduce thousands and thousands of parcels that come up on your search and reduce it down to just a handful, and really allow you to quickly and streamline that process to efficiently find, again, opportunities. And then, as I mentioned, you can apply map layers and truly understand a marketplace in a certain segment of the country. And once you select that parcel, our second interface is the preliminary underwriting, where you can do a development 3D model massing on that back end, and you do a 1-year return on cost financial analysis. You can do multifamily use, retail, industrial, office, or mixed use. And you can enter various assumptions, put in setbacks, and again, quickly evaluate different scenarios to truly understand the best possible outcome and best potential situation or investment on that particular parcel that you selected. And again, on the front end, you just always remember we have an export CSV functionality, which I'll demonstrate, which allows you to export out all the parcels that are matching in your search. And in the back end, we have export PDF file, which you can look at a 4-page report and share with your colleagues and partners so they can see the different scenarios and evaluations that you're making while you're developing this particular site. Just another couple of parts of our site as well. As we have, as I mentioned, we have the cities. We also have a webinar tab. This is where I upload webinars each and every week. Tutorials tab, which shows 60-second clips of key functionalities to help you understand the software. And then we have our pricing, which right now is at $18,000 a year. This is going to be going up to $27,000 in July. So this is a good time to get in. If you get in at the $18,000 now, you'll be grandfathered into that pricing. for life as an early adopter. So again, please feel free to reach out to me if you ever want to do a one-on-one demo and go into more detail regarding the pricing, or again, just to see how we could cater this software to your needs. All right, with that being said, let's get started here. We're going to jump into my dashboard, which you see right here, which again shows you the two different types of interfaces. We have our search engine, which I'm going to jump into, and we're going to search Raleigh, North Carolina. A lot of development going on in Raleigh, a tremendous amount of migration, population moving into North Carolina, especially in Raleigh. And as we described in our webinar email, our main focus is going to be searching for land development opportunities. And the key point today I want to demonstrate is how, again, we can go through thousands and thousands of parcels and within minutes narrow down that search to just a handful of properties and start to begin our evaluation and site selection to best understand the way to do a 3D to again, select that site, then go to that preliminary underwriting interface and start evaluating different development scenarios based on the use that might meet your needs. And I'm probably going to go through two different examples of preliminary underwriting after we narrow down our sites that we are scanning. So I'm going to just a couple of pieces of advice. When you're on our software, one thing we always recommend is using Google Chrome. Works very well with our software. We always like to also, I'm on a 24-inch screen, and I like to always zoom out to about 80%. So what that allows me to do is it allows me to capture as many parcels as possible in my viewport. The next step I like to take is I like to zoom out even further, so you can see my screen zooming out. If you zoom out to a point where you can no longer see these blue outlines of the parcels, it means you zoomed out a little too far, and just simply zoom back in until you recapture the parcels. Again, if these parcels do disappear, your search engine here on the left will not be available. So it is key to make sure you see the parcels outlined to begin your search and using the market scanner. Just quickly going through our tool set. This is our satellite layer. You could turn on and search with that on if you prefer. It's usually very helpful as you start kind of narrowing down your results and have a handful. I like to turn that satellite layer on to really kind of understand and see what resides or sits on those properties. We also have a street view when you select a parcel to see what truly sits on those particular sites. This is a select parcel tool. You basically can select one parcel at a time. Here's our assemblage tool, allows you to select multiple parcels at one time and evaluate an assemblage of various parcels. And you can also draw your own type of parcel pretty much anywhere in the country or the world and do a preliminary underwriting of that parcel, or you could use this tool to draw various parcels within one larger plot. And again, please, I just want to remind you, if you do have any questions, please feel free to use the chat and or the Q&A. And if I'm going too fast or something you want to go back on, definitely let me know and I will review what I've already gone over. So with that being said, let's jump into our market scanner. This pretty much drives the search for this interface. You can search by zoning districts, but today we're going to focus on this refined search down here. As I mentioned, we're looking for land development opportunities in Raleigh, North Carolina. And the first thing I'm going to look is I'm going to check off my lot size. I'm going to put this to 500,000. The reason I'm doing this just gives me a good idea of an understanding of how many parcels I'm seeing roughly in my viewport. So right now I got 2,600. I'm going to zoom out a little bit more and see how many more parcels I can capture within my viewport. So again, the more parcels we can see and scan through, the more efficient we'll be in our process and really, again, try to find that best opportunity that we are seeking. And again, this also allows you to get a more of a macro level view of our search and more of that bird's eye view. Right now, we're at 5,360 parcels. That's good. We'll start from here and see how quickly we can get down to just a handful. Another key feature of the refinement tool and the refined search is existing building area. And what we like to do here, in order to find vacant land, we want to enter in zeros in both inputs. By doing this, now what happens is we find all the parcels that are within this lot size between 0 and 500,000 square feet and with no existing building on that particular lot, meaning it's vacant land. So right now we're showing 773 parcels matched. So again, we just went from a little bit over 6,000 parcels, and now we're down to 773. So again, within minutes, we just cut our margin significantly. And here's that export CSV functionality I was referring to. When you hit this, you basically will receive a CSV file of all the parcels that are matching based on the current search, along with about 15 columns of different pieces of information tied to that parcel. So it's a very helpful reference point to begin that site selection process. But again, our goal is to try to narrow down to as few parcels as possible so we really can understand and meet our criteria needs. So the next thing we're going to work on is this new slider that we added a few weeks ago called Buildable Area. Buildable Area is a great slider to measure and understand for office, industrial, and retail. And what we're going to start first, inputs I'm going to enter is 100,000 to 900,000, or it's about a little under a million, I should say. So now we're down to 63 parcels matching, again, within our viewport. One thing also to note, you can move your screen north, south, east, or west to also identify more and more parcels. As you move your viewport, your screen will automatically update, and based again on this refined search of what is selected, your results will continue to update, and it will happen automatically. So again, we can focus in on this particular area of Raleigh, North Carolina. I could then move north, east, west, or south, and again, update my results and kind of take a snapshot of each area and again, hone in on what I feel might be the best area to really find that particular site that I am seeking. So I kind of want to see if I can get a little bit higher of a buildable area. So I'm going to make this now 300,000. See if we can narrow down those results a little bit more and kind of really reduce my overall parcels matching. So now we're at 19. So again, we just went from a little over 6,000 down to 19 parcels matching within these particular guidelines. And again, it's really become very helpful for me to understand my best and my most optimal outcome for selecting this particular site. I'm going to go one step further. We're going to try 500,000. Really see if I can push the site to build out a really particular type of building. And now we're down to 6 parcels matching. So I'm really happy with this these final results. We're down to 6. Again, so I basically went from 6,000 to 6 in just a matter of minutes. And now we're going to kind of start about the next step we like to recommend is start to evaluate and understand the marketplace in the segment we're in. And with that, we have our map layers, and our map layers are very helpful in kind of guiding you. And again, truly make that next decision and really say, all right, what site do I want to select? Now, always obviously in the back of your mind, you got to you're trying to understand what type of use you're looking to develop. If it's again multifamily, industrial, office, retail. In my mind right now, I'm looking at a couple different types of mixed use. I'm looking at doing industrial, office, and retail, and then I'm also looking at a multifamily play separately. So I want to just evaluate these particular parcels, see what they're zoned for. There's a couple other ways we can again also select these parcels based on the various uses that I just mentioned. But before I jump into that, I do want to look at some of these map layers and again best understand this particular area. So let's go into the people tab, and right here we're going to show we have employment, median income, median rent, and population. These are heat maps based on census data from 2010 through 2018. We are working to update that through 2020. The census finally just released all that information in its entirety, so we can finally begin to work on updating that. But just to show you how it works, I'm going to turn on median income, and you'll see a heat map will load. And you'll see underneath those shades of teal that are still representing those parcels that are matched based on my criteria. So in this particular area, we're looking at about an $85,000 a year median income. So it's a little bit on the higher side. This is 50,000. See if we go down a little bit. This is 30,000. So this is a little bit more lower income area. So these parcels are in the lower income, which maybe for multifamily, this could be a good affordable housing play. And maybe here in the 85,000, this could be maybe a possible, maybe this parcel right here is a potential for office and industrial, or maybe office and retail. So another measurement we like to look at, we have employment. Let's see what the employment is. And again, a heat map will appear. So we're looking at 58% employment in this particular area where that higher income was, and down here it's 44.9%. We do have one question. Yes, we do have opportunity zone layer, and I actually will show you that. I was about to turn it on, so I do want to see if any of these properties do have or do reside in an opportunity zone. And just to specify, our opportunity zone layer is represented throughout the entire country. So as you're doing parcel searches and looking for different properties, you can always turn on that opportunity zone to see where those parcels reside. So I will turn it on in a few seconds to demonstrate that. And one other layer I want to show is, let's see, I want to show the median rent just to get an idea of median rent in these particular areas. And they're all kind of lining up. Obviously, in this higher income area, the rent's obviously going to be a little bit higher, along with that employment was a little bit higher. Down here in that lower income area, we're seeing a little bit of a lower median rent. So let's go back and let's show that opportunity zone, which was just asked about. So simply by just turning this tab on, you'll see anything in this yellow shows that these parcels are within that opportunity zone. So this could be a great play for multifamily affordable housing. It's in an opportunity zone. It's a lower income area, so the rent's on the lower end side. So again, based on that evaluation and looking at those statistics, this might be a great site to just kind of potentially develop for that multifamily and affordable housing. So we could look at that shortly. Before I move on and look at developing the preliminary underwriting, I just wanted to show you as well, we have different types of rates, which we're using an aggregate of listing data and apply our machine learning to bring a strong baseline value. So we have residential rates, which shows you dollar per square foot. So again, in this area, we're looking at $1.60 per square foot. For the office rates, let's see, we're charging in this particular area. We have $19.65 per square foot. So a relatively strong number that you could charge per square foot. And I'm curious to see what the retail rates are as well, because again, I'm looking at maybe doing office retail in this particular area right here. And we're looking at $18.17 per square foot. So it could be a good development opportunity right here in terms of leasing out office and retail. And just to kind of show you another pretty cool functionality we have, if we want to see what is zoned for, say, office, we can simply type that in, and you'll see 6 parcels are matching. And these are still highlighted. These are the 2 I'm kind of focusing on. So we do know these are zoned for office. I want to see if this one's zoned for multi, and see multi-unit living is the terminology down in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I selected that. We have 8 parcels matching, but again, this one right here is zoned for multi-unit living. So again, this is perfect. This will be zoned for potential multifamily play. So it just kind of shows you, by entering these different pieces of criteria, how fast, again, you can understand and search for various parcels that you are looking to develop on. And before I select these parcels, another key piece of information I would like to show, and some indicators that truly help in understanding, again, the marketplace is our demographic trends. So I like to look at those as at a more micro level. So we're going to zoom in. So again, I was looking at this parcel and this parcel right here. This one, the north, again, resides in a more higher income area with a little bit higher rent. If you notice that our trend lines, we're down to 1, 2, just 4 lines now, so I can really understand some of these trends better. So for population, for instance, we can just put our mouse simply over these colors. Since our parcels reside in 509 and 501, I can turn these off and kind of study. Let's study 501 for a second. So 501 is showing a nice increase in population. See that employment per population. 501 also showing a nice strong incline in employment per population, especially against the United States average. So another good sign. And let's see, this is for median gross rent. Again, another strong incline for median gross rent in that census tract of 501. And lastly, that median household income also on incline. So 501 is looking real strong. That's where Again, this particular parcel resides in that 501 census tract. As you can see, when I highlight 501, that shaded lime green comes over that particular parcel. Let's look at 509 real quickly. I just want to see if I can better understand that. Seeing a slight increase in that median household income. Same slight incline for median gross rent. Let's see that employment per population. Also on an incline. So again, very good representation and measurements for both census tracts. And these look to be good particular sites to look to evaluate and understand what we could develop on. So I'm going to start with this particular one on the north end of my screen. And we're going to do on this preliminary underwriting. Again, before I move to the preliminary underwriting, as I mentioned, there's a street view, which we can click and it'll show you what, to Google Street View, shows you what appears in that parcel. So it looks like there is an empty lot, I believe, over here. And then you can kind of go through the property info that is pulled up. You'll see some demographic information. Here's the legal address, lot size. It shows that it's a vacant lot. There's your market value. And here's some of that key zoning information that we'll be pulling at Deepblocks. This is the information that really truly helps you and guides you in understanding the development of this particular site. And we go through building height, the zoning district, the number of floors that it's zoned for, parking by use, general uses allowed, and then specific uses are broken down here. So as I mentioned, I'm looking to do office, which is, it's zoned for office, as well as retail. So it's perfect. You can even do a little bit of industrial, I believe, on this property. Let's see. Yes, right here. You can do light manufacturing and R&D. So we can even add an industrial layer if we want. So we could evaluate that as well. And here are your setbacks for this particular parcel. So the next step is to do preliminary underwriting. And I'm going to do office and retail. You can go up to 20 units. I'm sorry, 20 stories high. I'm going to start out with a 10 FAR. And right now, the massing is being generated and built in that background as that map loads. So, and this is the second interface that I mentioned earlier, and this is kind of where you'll be adjusting and entering different assumptions for your particular evaluation process. And this is, again, the main concept with Deepblocks is truly to expedite that process. I will note that our users are seeing 90% reduction in time and 90% savings in time and cost, just because you can do this within minutes with your computer, instead of, again, putting in all those manual pieces and all those different processes, dealing with architects, dealing with lawyers, dealing with consultants. I mean, putting all those pieces together is a tremendous pain points there, and it's an arduous process, which again can take weeks, sometimes into months, where we're trying to streamline all those different elements into one interface, again with the zoning data, parcel level data, and the financial data, and then again apply some of the market data to it to help you make your decision and really truly understand, is this where you want to put your resources, and say, all right, based on site selection and the modeling, we feel really good about this particular site. This should be added to our portfolio. And, I'll show you shortly how you can export a PDF report to kind of justify developing on this particular property. So in this particular defined building section, this is where you can enter your various setbacks. Just keep in mind, we have our property info from that first interface that carries through into the back end as well. So you can kind of look at your setbacks. There's your front, secondary, sides broken down in specific detail based on if it's a detached house versus townhouse or different types of uses. For this, obviously, we're in more of a commercial use. I believe we can go with some of the second, this mixed use right here. So we can follow the 0 foot or 6 foot setbacks. So just to quickly show you, we can go into a setback mode. We can uniquely identify each side with this setback mode. So I can make, this will become, I'll make this A, do that as B, make that D, C. We'll exit that setback mode. And also just keep in mind too, you can share projects with other users who have a software license. You can copy your own project and we can work on various iterations and scenarios. So again, you can evaluate saying, all right, I want to look at it based on these assumptions with office and retail. Maybe I want to add an industrial layer, which you can easily do right here. So if I want to add industrial, you can just simply click that. You'll see industrial that right here in that area just got added, and we can then adjust all three types of uses to see what makes the most sense and gives us that best return on cost. As I mentioned, this is a one-year back of the envelope return on cost financial analysis. So the next step is, as I mentioned, we identified our setbacks. We're just going to put in some of these setbacks. So 6, 6, 6, 6. I'm also going to do a couple setbacks from the 7th floor and up. We'll do about 15, 15, just to make a building look a little different. As you can see, I just create those setbacks. And now the next thing is we can enter our assumptions in. So the first one we'll enter in, and let's work on the retail first. So just by simply clicking retail, we can adjust. So say I want to do about 10,000 square feet of retail. You'll see it'll be expanded right here. Went back a little bit further. We can adjust our loss factor. We can see maybe we'll get a little bit more than, maybe we'll get $22 a square foot. As you adjust your assumptions, your KPIs down in here will automatically update. And your return analysis, your back of the envelope will automatically update. And then your assumptions as well are automatically updating as you adjust these assumptions. We'll leave vacancy, we'll put it down to 4%. Let's go over to the office. We have 295,000 of gross buildable, 12% common. Maybe lease income, we can get $25 a square foot. Now we're up to 6% ROC. We'll leave vacancy, we'll put vacancy down to 8%. OpEx will keep it 8. And another step we like to do is work on the parking. Again, as I mentioned, the property info will show you the parking by use guidelines. So we're going to put in 2 spaces here, 2 for there, and it just puts the parking right underneath. I believe we're a little bit too tall based on the property info. I believe 20 stories is number 4 is 20 stories. So I would have to adjust like office space a little bit, bring this down to 275. Maybe a little bit more. All right, now we're down to 17. So probably go a little more office space. Let's go 230,000. All right, so our 18 floors of office. We got a little retail in the front, and then we have our parking. And then lastly, we go into that project costs. Maybe we can get this building for $1.5 million. Some good negotiation tactics. That helps our ROC a little bit more. We're going to have 0 demolition because it's vacant land. Soft costs, maybe we'll leave that at 15%. Contingencies, we'll leave it 6%. Now we go into our hard costs. These are sub-market values that we are bringing in based on a particular area. Maybe I can negotiate down to $180 a square foot for office, maybe $165 for retail. And again, it'll affect our ROC and our bottom line. So that's the development of this particular site in just one scenario. And again, I could save this project, copy this project, then run through the next set of scenarios and assumptions, and see if, again, adding an industrial layer might help, or maybe figuring out a way to add more office or increasing the retail, but obviously staying within these zoning guidelines. I will show you, as I mentioned, we can export this report out. You can show who it's coming from, who it's going to, put a little summary in here about this particular project, upload a cover image of this particular parcel, choose your own company logo and your own color palette. This is the stock report that I'm generating, just so you can get an idea of what the report looks like. Again, it's a very helpful 4-page PDF file. A lot of our users like to share with their partners, investors. And again, it's very beneficial for going through just different scenarios. They'll create various reports to show, all right, here is this particular iteration. Again, here's that writing summary you can update. Page 2 is the property info, zoning summary, and a stacking plan. This shows you the key demographic trends for the area as we were going through in that front end interface. then lastly, that 1 year back in the envelope, return on cost financial analysis. And just to kind of show you quickly, I did this earlier. If I wanted to do the multifamily play on the other parcel that was on the southern part of my screen, I would have selected that parcel. We would have did a preliminary underwriting for multifamily. So this was literally just south of the one parcel we were just evaluating. So this is just another play, another way of evaluating development potential. And this is the affordable housing I said that we might be able to develop here. And you can see I created a building where it's got 18 floors, 260 units. I entered in 51 bedrooms, 162 bedrooms, 53 bedrooms. Kind of went through the gross buildable a little bit, broke it down, adjusted some of the costs. And again, just another scenario we can look at in another parcel that was within that search, those search parameters and guidelines when we entered in that certain criteria when we were going through Raleigh, North Carolina. So again, another possible development and investment play. Let me see if anyone, does anyone have any questions? Please feel free to enter them now. Again, if you have any questions as I'm ending here, please feel free to reach me at michael@deepblocks.com. Again, we'd love to do a one-on-one demo if you want to go into a deeper dive or explore certain use of the software that might cater more to your needs and what you are working on. So with that being said, if there's no other questions, again, I do appreciate everyone joining this webinar this week. Please, again, come back next week as we continue to explore more and more markets and different functionalities that we continue to add, and as we scale our software and continue to improve and add more value with Deepblocks.com. Have a great afternoon and hope to see you next week. Take care.